Hello. Jessine here. And I'm filming in beautiful nature today at a gorgeous camping spot. We're here for the evening to meditate and have a really spiritual experience tonight. So I'm so excited, and I wanted to film for you guys before we got deeper into our journey and our process. I'm really going off of intuition on these videos. There's so much information and so much I would like to share that it can feel a little overwhelming of really where to start and exactly what to speak about in each video. I do want to keep these under 20 minutes. My first one was a lot longer, which is okay. I think it turned out perfect for the foundation of this. But like I said, I'll keep these fairly short so you can continue to watch them daily without it being such a huge venture every time. For this one tonight, I really debated touching in on a few different topics I brought up in my first video the other day. But when I really meditated on it and I sat with it, I felt most pulled to talk about processing pain, specifically talking about what pain is and why pain is our friend and a tool and not the enemy and something that we need to avoid. When we're living in survival and operating in ego and afraid of pain, where we're doing everything we can to avoid it, that's when we'll trigger belief systems and coping mechanisms and patterns of behavior that will limit us and keep us from evolving in the ways that we need to. So this doesn't mean that we need to always be in pain or that we should be hurting ourselves intentionally, but ultimately embracing the unknown and letting ourselves move forward through pain, fully processing that pain rather than suppressing and denying it or straight up trying to cope and avoid it. Pain is really just our body's reaction. It's our humanness to something that stimulates or triggers dis-ease in our body. Well, dis-ease and friction and tension in our body is really just information. And I think what's really, really crucial and important to understand if you're in an awakening journey is that evolution is the goal. And feeling good is a part of that. It really is. But we have to not be afraid of pain and also not in resistance of it. When we're in resistance of what's happening, our life situations, that's when we'll really get stuck and we'll spiral and we'll just stay in this perpetual state of resistance. And one of the things that really shifted me when I was having my awakening was this moment where I was just like, let go of resistance. Just let go of resistance. Let myself feel the pain, because the pain is already there. If you're feeling pain, it's just your response to it. It's already happening. And you can't attract abundance and joy and happiness while holding on to that pain because you're resisting it. Suffering is not pain. Suffering is resisting pain. Because pain are like guiding posts. It's information as to where in our brain we have a perception that is not like resisting what is, right? So the state of consciousness of acceptance calibrates, I think, at like 300 hertz. And we talk a lot about acceptance and enlightenment because when we move into a state of acceptance, that's when we allow flow. So how do you process pain? Like, what does that mean? How does one do that? And really, it's understanding, well, it's letting it move through you. Because you are an actual vibrational being. You are a consciousness experiencing the physical realm. You're experiencing this dimension. You are a consciousness. A spirit, which is a spirit. And your entire purpose for existing is to evolve. So if pain is our guiding posts, or it's our directory points to show us where we're not aligned, or there's a block in our chakras, in our brain, in our programming, and therefore our chakras, and therefore our whole body, through our entire chi and our nervous system and our entire system of our body, that can show us where we need to process. And processing is a form of meditation. There's many different types of meditation. A lot of people think meditation is just like just being completely mindless or mindful and aware, but not like, a lot of people don't even know what meditation means and what mindfulness really means. And there's really steps in this process of tapping into a state of no mind, no time, no place, no one, before you're able to connect to source, being, I am the universe, I am the creator, I am the ultimate, I am source, I am creating my reality, and I am in alignment with source and the universe, and really experiencing flow. Before you can get to that point, you have to learn how to process pain. And in order to process pain, you have to not be resisting it, right? So how does one do that? How is that really like a functional thing that we do? What are the actions of that? And this is what the work I've studied is integrative processing. And it's really this process of, one, having the courage to have awareness, like I talked about in my last video, and being able to observe with neutrality your patterns of thought, emotional reaction, and behavior. So when you feel pain, the question you need to ask yourself, well, first, we must not go into judgment. We can't make a decision yet about what's happening and decide this is good or bad. This should not be happening. I don't want this to happen. Or make it a negative, or sit in a negative perspective as truth, as all that there is. Because then that's when we don't move forward, we don't evolve through it, and we stay in the state of pain. We stay in suffering. Because you, like I said, are a consciousness. You're a vibrational being. Painful emotions, what creates this experience of pain for us, is really painful emotions, which are just energy. They are purely energy. And they all calibrate at a different frequency. And being a vibrational being, you are like a channel, a vessel in this dimension. And you must be able to let pain move through your consciousness and out of you. You have to let it flow through and out, and release it, and surrender it, and let go of it, in order to evolve beyond it and experience a perception that will allow you to leverage the experience as an opportunity, grow through it, evolve, and create a more joyful experience. So the question you need to ask yourself is, what am I perceiving and what am I feeling? Because those are just the information we need to process. So when we're in a situation that doesn't feel good to us and we're feeling negative things, then what about this situation am I not enjoying? What do I believe I'm experiencing right now? So when I was going through my divorce, and I remember feeling so resistant to it, to him, to the situation, so frustrated, so angry. And I needed to move through that. I needed to experience that. But while I was in resistance to feeling anger, I didn't want to be angry at first. I would suppress it and I would deny it, and it would still seep out of me in my intonations, in my language, in my actions. And it would often turn inward and become anger towards myself or my life as a whole. So it would keep me stuck. Because anger, when it's suppressed, becomes apathy, which calibrates at a very low frequency, and it makes you very tired and exhausted, and it's hard to be motivated to really do anything at all. And so I worked out really, really hard most of the time, specifically to process pain and anger, and it worked well for me. It was a great tool, and I'm glad that I developed that habit. But it still left me a bit stuck because I wasn't fully conscious of what I was trying to process. And so I was still ending up in these same situations, which perpetually created that feeling. So when I learned awareness, and I learned that it's okay to be angry, it's okay to feel that emotion, then it allowed me to fully process it. So it's really just about being honest. Being so very honest with yourself first of what you're actually perceiving and feeling. When you're a highly motivated person and you just want to be the best version of yourself, it's easy to go into black and white thinking of good and bad and what makes me a good person and what makes me a bad person and how am I supposed to act and how am I supposed to feel, which causes us to go into judgment. Because judgment is operating off the limited mind. And it will often, when we're judging ourselves and denying parts of ourselves or something that we're really actually experiencing within us, that's when it becomes a shadow trait. And that's when we develop patterns like avoidance and lying or hiding or manipulation or the list goes on. Or maybe relying on substances or even sex or relationships to make us feel better. So we have to learn that we're creating our reality. And if we're feeling resistance to something in our reality, it's resistance to something within ourselves. And we have to be able to ask ourselves those hard questions and be very, very honest. And often, almost always, because we formed a subconscious under the age of 13, when we're triggered, when the part of our brain that had made a decision about their reality that is now showing up, and the emotion, the negative emotion that was fueling that belief system is now triggered and it's moving through our body, we're going to be feeling this friction and tension in our body. And it's really important that we know and discern within ourselves what that emotion is. Because it's information. It's really important information. You don't need to feel bad about how you really feel. Please, this, if anything that you take away from this video, you don't need to feel bad about how you really feel. And as long as you deny it and are ashamed of it, you will stay stuck and keep creating it because you are keeping it stuck in your energy field. We're a bunch of little energy bubbles. We're energy fields. And we attract what we're resonating at. We attract what state of consciousness we're resonating at. And when we have an accumulation of blocked emotions, blocked thoughts and energies, we attract other people who also have those blocked energies and thoughts, even if they're plugging into the belief system from the other angle. Because in the states of consciousness of shame up through pride, you fold those, and shame feeds into pride. Anger feeds into guilt. Let's see, the next one, apathy, I believe, feeds into desire. I'm trying to remember the middle ones. And I can show you a visual, maybe on my Instagram or something. But these feed into each other. And this information is really, really important and valuable so that you can fully process and be fully aware of how you're plugging in and how you're ego dancing with others in your reality. So when you get triggered to these younger ages, or when you get triggered, you age regress subconsciously to younger ages. So you're no longer your neutral 25-year-old present self and operating as your most authentic self when you're triggered. You age regress to the 5-year-old within you that made a decision about reality with the triggered emotions in that situation, and then you try to respond and problem solve that situation with a wounded little child within you running the show, steering the ship. And oftentimes, almost always, if you're with a tribe of, or surrounded with a group of people, and you're in an atmosphere of people who are not conscious, are not aware, who are also completely unconscious of what's happening within them, when you get triggered, oftentimes you'll trigger them, because you'll each feel the negative energy that's in this space and respond to it with your different stories to make sense of what you're experiencing. So you'll both feel the energy and it'll trigger the decisions that you've made about yourself, the limited perceptions you've formed about yourself at those younger ages, and you'll both age regress subconsciously. This is psychology. You'll both age regress to those younger ages and respond to one another accordingly. And so we form, like I said in my last video, we form our perception of reality and the people in it under the ages of 13. So we have an archetype for each character in our reality that we'll attract, and we'll plug people into those archetypes in current time, in our current life situations, and project those archetypes onto them, and project our stories into our current life situation. So any problem you're experiencing right now, if you are in resistance and in a negative emotion or in a triggered state, you are projecting a past belief system into that current situation and trying to solve a current problem with the perception and mind of a child within you that never fully processed it because you were in resistance of the pain as that child, because that's what you were taught and programmed with. Most of us were not taught how to fully process pain. So that's why this information is so important, because this is how we actually diffuse negative emotions in situations and diffuse problems. Really, this message, what I'm sharing with you right now, could be the answer to all your problems. Because when you learn that everything you're experiencing is just information, it's just here to show you, to guide you to where you're still blocked within you, then you embrace it. You question it. Staying curious is the secret. Curiosity is how we grow. It's how we expand. We have to be curious within ourselves, challenging our own reality, and curious to what situations we can experience, what new realities we can embrace, even if it's different than any we've ever experienced before. That's why I'm exploring polyamory. I don't know if I want to be polyamorous forever. Maybe I don't, but I need to experience it and understand it in order to discern that. Because discernment is with wisdom, it's with a higher intelligence, versus judgment, which is it's based off the limited mind and programming, and it's based in a negative energy. So asking the question, what am I perceiving? What decision did I make about myself that I'm plugging into this current situation? So, and then how do I feel about that? What does that make me feel? And how am I coping with it? How am I trying to make myself feel better? So when I went through my divorce, I remember thinking, it hit me after a couple of years of like really fighting and really trying to make it work. And it hit me, I was like, I don't believe that I can do it by myself. I don't believe that I can create everything I want all by myself. And so I have this expectation for him to show up this way so that I can create what I want. Therefore, I'm binding him to an expectation. And I'm not allowing him to flow and be free to just be him. And I'm not allowing myself to just flow and be free because I have an expectation of what this is supposed to look like and what's supposed to happen. And I'm in resistance to what is. And I remember when I let this like moment flow and like hit me, that like all the pain and anger I felt for him not showing up how I wanted him to. And then I realized this is my story because my dad wasn't there. When I was really little, like I said in my last video, he got in a really bad accident and he wasn't able to be there like my little child self needed him to be, which is understandable. And then he died when I was 9. And then my mom wasn't as available emotionally to help me process these things fully. We really coped by making it very spiritual and being so grateful for every little bit of it, grateful that we had my father here, and grateful he was on the other side to support me from the other side, which is true. I was grateful for that. And I am still grateful for that, actually, in more ways than I can express in this video. But in order for me to fully experience that gratitude, I had to fully process my pain first. I had to let myself be angry and sad and heartbroken and feel the neglect and pain of it. I had to admit to myself that I felt that way, but I felt so much shame for feeling that way because I felt like I should be grateful. I shouldn't feel bad. I shouldn't be mad at God or my dad for dying. Well, I then created marriages and situations where I attracted people who couldn't show up for me all the way because I had that expectation and that they wouldn't, because of the archetype that I had projected onto them from my father. And so until I could fully process that pain, he would continually plug into that with his own belief systems that he didn't feel like he was enough. He didn't feel like he was good enough, which would then cause him to cope in ways that would make him not show up, to not be present, to seek validation or numb himself, which would then propel me into this further belief and a story that I had to do it myself, that I had to figure it out, that I was alone and I wasn't supported, because that became my reality. Do you see what I'm saying? We create our reality by how we respond to what we're perceiving. And we're perceiving the situation by the belief systems and the decisions we had made about reality in our childhood and the emotions anchored to those. So in order to diffuse it and fully process it, we have to ask this question and let ourselves feel that emotion. And it may sound like I'm being redundant and repetitive, but I really, really want to nail this in. And for you to hear me in this, you're allowed to think and feel what you're feeling, but do not identify with it. And do not believe it as the truth of reality. Ask questions and then give yourself the space, hold space for yourself to fully feel. This is what meditation is. This is a form of meditation. Allow yourself to cry and weep and visualize. Well, this is going to go into NLP, and this is the work that I do in private sessions. I really can't get super deep into right now because I'm losing my light and it's time for me to start my journey. But it's important that you work with your mind, ask your mind questions to fully process. A lot of times in spirituality, people try to ignore and deny how they are fully actually feeling and experiencing things, and then it comes through. People can still feel that energy, and they're still trying to explain that energy with their own stories, and they plug into each other and project their archetypes or shadow traits onto each other. Well, it's your job to show up for yourself, because you are a powerful creator. You're a powerful being, vibrational being, and quantum physics proves that you are, the science of this, quantum physics proves that everything is energy. 99.9% of every atom is energy, and you will sync with the energy in this dimension that you are operating in, which is the energy that you've suppressed and blocked and have not let fully process and flow through you. In order to manifest what you truly desire, you have to first identify the separateness in your subconscious you have with that thing you desire. Why is it so separate from you? Because ultimately you are the universe, you are the creator, and it is all within your being. Anything you desire, you can resonate with. Anything you really want, you can attract when you can match that frequency by fully processing your pain and not resisting your pain. You must grow through and evolve. That is why you're here. That is why you're creating these experiences in the first place. You are powerful, my friend. We are powerful. You can create anything you want, anything you truly resonate with in this deepest part of your intuition that you know you can, that you envision for yourself. Your dreams can become reality. They truly can. I'm a testament of that. I've watched it happen. Things that I have witnessed. I will tell you the story soon. But trust me for now, if you don't in your own reality yet, if you haven't experienced this and you've been in survival, know that when you learn how to fully process pain and ask questions and work with your subconscious to reprogram your brain, that is when you can create another reality. Neuroplasticity proves that our brains are pliable. Your programming is pliable. Your personality is just your programming. It's your pattern. It's your habitual responses, which can shift and evolve. You are not stuck. You are never stuck. As soon as you believe you're stuck, you create that. Sending you love, and I'll talk to you another day very soon.